Okay. Well.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was wondering.
There we go.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Would everyone please join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, nation.
Roll call.
Councilman Cooley,
Here.
Councilwoman Beck. Here. Councilman Barkers,
Here.
Councilman Flutie,
Here.
and Mayor Davis.
Here. Has everybody had a chance to look over the agenda? Any questions about the agenda? You'll note on 9 with the ordinance for next year. There'll be a little bit brought out of that into the pay scale that we're working on, that we've worked on and pretty much adopted under the past meeting. So that would be the only highlight I have. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, has everybody had the chance to look over last meeting's minutes from May 7th? Are there any questions, changes, updates? Do I have a motion to approve last meeting's minutes from May 7th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to approval of the bills and transmittals. We had deposits in the amount of $334,871.13. Accounts payable in the amount of $92,494.46. Payroll in the amount of $41,519.03. Transmittals in the amount of $51,776.09. Are there any questions about the bills or the financials? I have a motion to go ahead and approve the bills and financial transmittals.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, move on to correspondence.
No correspondence.
No correspondence. Items from the public. We have the special event application, Stillhouse Blues Band and others. Who's this guy?
That is Christian.
Chris? You want to come up and tell us a little bit about what you got going on, please?
Yeah, we were just looking to fill out the Fourth of July weekend. I know Danny's doing something at the mall with some bands and we've got Saratoga Day on Saturday. So just filling in another day and making a full weekend of fun and frolic in town.
Okay.
Amy and Sesko's bringing over Stillhouse Blues Band from Rollins. I'll have a food truck, maybe 2.
Okay.
Hopefully more music than that. He's looking at a couple of openers possibly, so.
Okay, police chief, do you have any issues with this?
I haven't seen it until now, but
And, as we've done in the past, I think I've got anything specifically that we've been able to work out things with Chris, so. He was easy to work with last year on some of the stuff, so.
Any concerns from the fire department? Questions from the council? Not, the chair would entertain a motion to go ahead and approve this special event permit along with we're gonna have an application for beverage sales go along with this. We have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll get this signed off on probably tomorrow, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any council comments? Tonight,
Just wanted to make one, previously I volunteered to be the voting delegate at the WAM conference and I've had to step back from attending, so as discussed, you're gonna be the voting delegate, Chuck, for that. I won't be attending, so I just wanted to let folks know since we had approved that previously.
okay, thank you, Kathy. Or anything else? Okay, we'll move on to reports from departments. We'll move on to our ordinance, which is, we'll read by title only tonight. It's ordinance number 869 for the budget for the year 2024 and 2025.
Ordinance number 869, no, we got the wrong one, 869. Okay, it's an ordinance to provide income necessary to finance the 2024-2025 fiscal budget of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, state of Wyoming. That all, what else? That it?
Be it ordained.
Oh, I need, be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming.
Okay. Are there any questions about this? We're only passing it by title only. And the next meeting, which will be in June, we cut ourselves an extra meeting for changes. Probably be one more workshop on the budget. But as of now, we just have by title only. I have a motion to go ahead and pass this ordinance by title only.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on. Just right under that, we want to go into the pay scale. And it was figured into the 2024-2025 budget. The budget that we still have will withstand this. There's been some discussion with myself and the department heads about going ahead and pulling the pay scale, adopting the pay scale to tonight. We have new employees that are starting. Well, hopefully we'll vote on that later. Rather than start them at X amount of dollars and then in, basically a month, we raise them up again. So we were gonna pull this back into place. Treasurer, do you have anything you want to say about it?
So we look at, are we, felt like we need to be about.
Emery? You helped work on this?
Yeah, I think it's a necessary system that needs to be in place, so people can look at that, know where they are, know where they're gonna have an opportunity to be in the future. Is it gonna be perfect right out the get-go? No, I think we're progressing and making steps in the right direction. It's part of that process.
Some of the things we're trying to get over is where, one person was hired at X amount of dollars. And in 20 years, they've only moved up and now they're trying to hire people at almost what that person's making. I visited with the county about this. The county bit the bullet a few years back and said, no, we we gotta get something on scale, so,
Hmm.
you know, these people will know where they moved. You can jump, and that's what this is. You can jump over, you know, if need be. So anyway, are there any questions about it?
Could you help me understand this sheet when we've got the scale position and the step? Are we just rounding to the next step for all of these folks so that we can classify them consistently? Or what does this scale step indicate?
So on a
Emory?
pay step, so you have a general schedule, so it's like you have a.
Classification,
Position would be,
yeah,
and then there's so
category.
many steps within.
Okay,
So where people were in their careers and where they were at in their positions, not everybody fell like right on step one. We couldn't build the step. So we moved things to where people were properly apportioned, you know, adjacent to each other based on their position.
okay. And these will be noted and recorded in Cassell now so that we have a clear understanding when people come in and each year they serve. Okay, great. Thank you.
The starting wage at step one will be X amount of dollars.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to go ahead and adopt that pay scale tonight?
Proposed position on the scale.
Yeah, this is the proposed positions.
And we've accounted for every full-time or part-time individual.
So it's a part-time, in your guys' budget book, there was a part-time pay scale as well, and like.
I just noticed, yeah, that
Yeah,
he's on this list. That's why I wanted to confirm this accounts for everybody. Okay,
One thing to bring up on this too, something that we did change is we was allotting so much per hour for people that didn't take the insurance. And what we did with the advice from the attorney, we moved out, it's gonna be a set dollar amount. They'll receive an extra set dollar amount, which everybody was in favor of. It's my understanding it's just a little bit more than the $2 per hour is what, but they'll receive that as long as they don't receive insurance. Rather
it was
than,
previously based on a percentage of their income, the salary.
it was so many dollars per hour.
Okay.
It's better for those things separated.
Okay,
and even Kylie said that.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
any other questions, comments? I have a motion to go ahead and set this scale into motion tonight.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that covered this.
Yeah, we're probably, the part-time one. That was in, you guys all have your books.
What's it?
yes. Yeah, mine.
To be a name yourself.
That's the guy, I'll keep it around. So like Mike, at the last meeting, moved all those part-time guys up to the 24 as part of the budget. We had this in the books as well, to just have a part-time pay schedule. This is what these people would be making at these part-time positions. Like we talked about advertising the pool manager, a little bit more, and that's in there.
Which will help.
Probably this, since this being somewhat of a separate one, it should probably be adopted as well. An additional motion.
We discussed this at length at our first budget session, and we're basically trying to be consistent and competitive like the rest of the state, given our increase in cost of living and all that. So I'll make a motion to approve the new part-time employee wage scale.
Along with everybody agreed to this, their rating here.
Okay, including the proposed wage scale position for federal employees. We're following that standard. The GS7, GS2, and so on, state?
It's, well, you can.
State
set it up
guidelines.
how you- Yeah, based on your positions, right? Businesses. Different job descriptions. We didn't feel the need to have 1 through 25.
Yeah.
Discussion? Well, first of all, do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Spalding was be here to talk a little bit about the baseball field, but Creed, do you have something you would like to say about the baseball fields? Please?
Not so much about the baseball fields. You and I discussed a little bit about, I think, what Ben was gonna talk about. I haven't actually talked with Ben about that. But just to give the council an update on our baseball programs, we have 2 different programs. We have the Legion program, which is our younger kids, and our or the Little League program, which is our younger kids, and then Legion is our older kids, 13 and up. We had opening day here 2 weekends ago. Went really well. I think for Little League this year, we had 5 kids signed up, which is up from last year, which is great to see. This year, our Legion program is actually got 2 teams, Legion A and Legion C. That's kind of based on their age. So total, we've got just under 130 kids playing baseball, and we appreciate all your guys' support for everything we're doing down there at the baseball fields. If you guys have any questions?
No, if you want to remain there just a minute. Let's talk about, if you'll notice, we finally have got the Woods lease agreement all in compliance. The Woodses have signed off on it. It's in your packet. That's been reviewed and tore up 15 different times by the attorney and by the Woodses, but we finally come to an agreement. And I would like permission from the council to go ahead and sign this lease agreement. It'll be in effect from, even though we just signed it today, where was that?
I think it's on the top first page.
Term will be October 1st, 2023 until September 30th of 2028. The Woods has requested an 5-year lease.
Mhm.
And we started on it in October of last year, pretty hard. So, are there any questions? Nope. Do I have a motion to allow me to sign this lease agreement with the Woodses?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, Reed.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move.
Richard,
Yes, sir.
May I make a personal comment, a safety comment? Excuse me.
Is this about the baseball field?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
They've done an excellent job. I live there on the corner. They worked very hard and it's really exciting what they've done. But can I ask the council to address what I consider a serious safety concern? Traffic. I would like this council to approve a 4-way stop sign for that intersection, so that everybody going every direction must stop right there at that corner. The cattle trucks, the rancher people come through, people come boiling down Hugo Street, sightseeing or whatever they're doing. Way too fast, way too much going on. Parking is a bit of a congestion when there's all these activities. I don't mind. I think it's great. I'm totally in support of what they're doing there, but a stop sign on all 4 sides.
thank you.
Okay,
Mike, would you look into that?
Absolutely.
And see what you, and then report back to us and we'll see what we can take care of. Reed, as part of being part of the baseball association, do you see an issue with that?
I don't see any issues with it. Like I said, I think it'll require a traffic study possibly.
Yeah,
We don't.
okay. All right, thanks, Mike. Thank you for your comment. We'll move on to Miss Ellie.
I've been missing you for months. So I'm back. This time I don't want anything for the first round here except a signature. And basically what's going on is there's an organization called the Wyoming Intertie Community Investment Program. And they have a grant program that is coming up. Our grant submission has to be done on June 17. And it will support 3 counties. Hardin County being one of them. And we would like to get the maximum award, which is $50,000, to finish out the parking lot and to finish out the play area. If you drive by our play area, you'll notice that there's a grass space and it needs a 3 to 5 year old play area because the bigger kids need more muscle development in that play area. We also need a shade structure because the sun in Wyoming is a bit strong, in case you didn't notice. Anyway, so we have I submitted a whole packet, shows you the whole submission that we're doing. And then I even took the liberty of producing a letter for the mayor to sign. And basically what it says is, you've been supporting Valley Village Child Care for a very long time, and we appreciate it all. We couldn't have done any of this without you. And we today have 34 kids at our Valley Village Child Care. And the most spectacular thing is that we opened on January 5th and Kira Drake closed just this week. And those 10 kids have come over to Valley Village. Without us, that's 10 families that would have been impacted. So this letter, I took the liberty of explaining how this is really very important and that you all are in favor of us getting $50,000 to help us finish the parking lot and the play area and the shade structure. And you can change it if you want.
Any questions or discussion? Question from the public about this? In support of the daycare. I have a motion for me to sign this, saying that the town of Saratoga is in full support of this grant money to go to the Valley Village Daycare.
There's nothing we gotta do.
You don't have to do anything. I even
Yeah.
wrote a letter.
There's no tag to it or nothing.
No, it's just a letter of support.
Okay.
Nothing.
The
I have a motion.
vocabulary is probably much better than what we would have gotten.
Okay,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And I didn't want you to run out of things to do, so let me just change roles. And when I change roles, I have to change my clothes. I'll bring you my anniversary jacket for a advanced trainer, AT6, that was manufactured in 1943 and is flying today. So I'm dressed for the event. Okay, what's the event? The event is that on August 14th, which is a Wednesday, through the 18th, there is going to be a Wyoming Aviation Festival. Sponsored by, this should be in your packet too, sponsored by the Wyoming Aviation Heritage League, plus the Commemorative Air Force and Cheyenne Regional Airport. So that starts on the 14th, and the Commemorative Air Force is bringing all of their planes in on the 12th. Because the pilots don't want to work 24 hours a day. But I happen to be in charge of one of those airplanes. And I happen to know one of the pilots that works for me. And he agreed that he would come up and he would pick up that airplane from Cheyenne and fly it over the valley and come in here and land it at Shively Field and offer rides and do tours. And when the day is over, he will do a flyover and go back to Cheyenne. So what's so special about this airplane? This is my spiel. I promise I won't take more than 5 minutes. This particular airplane arrived in Avenger Field in Sweetwater, Texas, which is where the Women Air Force Service pilots were trained. And 1,104 of them graduated and relieved 1,104 men to go to combat. They did everything the men did except go to combat. They trained people to shoot at airplanes, so they towed targets. They taught bombers to stay in formation while they dived at the bombers. And then they reversed, they flew the bombers so that the divers, the fighters could go after them. They taught men to fly so that the men could go overseas. There was nothing they didn't do. 76 different models of aircraft, and 60 million miles of transport. So if you think about what was going on in Dallas, they manufactured airplanes and they came off the line like one every 15 minutes. And the Women Air Force Service pilots would pick them up off the line, no test drives, and fly them to where they needed to go, get on a transport carrier like a cargo plane, come back to Dallas and do it again and again and again. And they did this for all the manufacturing plants in the US. So this particular plane sat in Evander Field. And while she was there, we know for sure that 7 of the women that were there flew in her. We have copies of pictures and logbooks. In addition, we took that airplane and got Women Air Force Service pilots that were aged, almost aged out, but they were aging. And we flew them in that plane in 2017 through 2018, and they signed the luggage compartment. There is no other airplane in this world like this airplane. Her name is Nella. She's named Nella after the mascot of the Women Air Force Service pilots, which is Fifi Nella. She's a female gremlin, a Disney character, and female gremlins are much better than boy gremlins. So I gave you all the information about this and a story about the WASP, and what I need from you is when we put on an event, we need to have you, whoever the sponsoring agency is, and whoever owns the airport on our insurance. We need to name you as an additional insured. So if something should happen and we are flying the airplane and there is damage, our insurance will reach out and cover you. So what we're asking for you to agree to at no charge is for us to extend insurance to you. That's it.
Questions?
Kelly, we have the line item on here, but we don't have the details with the pictures and things, flyer stuff. So
You didn't get that.
no, we didn't get that stuff, the good stuff. So, I mean, we can look at it, but have you talked to, like, the airport board is in support of this? And I mean, do we need any approval on their side of it? Or are we just saying we'll be included as a
Just
coverage? Okay,
The town is the owner.
okay.
You own the airport. You're the only people that can give us permission to put you on the insurance. The sponsoring agency is the Commemorative Air Force. So I don't need another extension for that. There's nothing else to do.
And as far as the event that you propose, will you have details to bring to the public so that we can talk about how we go about riding in the plane and hearing a nice little spiel about the history and things?
As a matter of fact, it's in the packet.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's a booking site where you can sign
Okay,
up
great.
for a ride right now. And I talked to Dana this morning or yesterday afternoon. So once you had agreed, please, she'll get a copy of the packet. It will be in the newspapers. It'll be on the radio. And Lauren Cragen will have it up on Facebook
Yeah.
probably tomorrow,
All right.
with your permission.
That's very cool. I appreciate you sharing.
And when is
that on the
the
history.
date again?
August 13th.
August.
13? And the 14th through the 18th is the
Aviation Festival.
the festival.
Which would be another really good thing because Amelia Earhart slept there in the terminal and the first United Airlines stewardesses were trained there and blah, blah, blah. I can talk about this all day, but.
That's great. I love it. I love the background. That's wonderful.
Any more questions?
I'll move to give the organization permission to add us to the insurance.
That's all I need.
I have a second to that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Ellie.
Thank you. Here, Ellie. Signed and sealed.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure doing business with you guys. And girls.
Thanks. Okay, we'll move on to Stacy. Oh, there she is. Stacy Crimmins.
I also have a grant application. I've already done all the work, so you don't have to do any other work. So for Never Forget Park. The same grant that Ellie and Valley Village talked about. It's Wyoming Intercept or Intertie Community Investment Program. It's basically impact money from the 3 counties for a power line that went through those 3 counties. So each grant is $50,000. So I am applying for a grant on behalf of the town of Saratoga for $50,000 to go towards Never Forget Park. You should have a resolution in your packet and probably a copy of those grant applications. So the grant itself is, depending on when the award is, will pay for phase 1 construction, which was the curb and gutter, or phase 2 landscaping, which is the trees and the shrubs and the benches, or phase 3 amenities and parking, so the restrooms. So just, I'm not sure, leaving it up, open so that we can just use it wherever it's needed. The resolution is authorizing submission of a grant application to the Grant and Loan Program on behalf of the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming, for the purpose of Wyoming Intertie Community Investment Program, which is also abbreviated as WICIP. Grant application to the Wyoming Community Foundation, who is, they're the ones taking all the applications and processing them for the benefit of Never Forget Park. Whereas the governing body of the town of Saratoga desires to participate in WICIP to assist in financing this project, and whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming recognizes the need for the project, and whereas the WICIP program requires that certain criteria be met as described in the WICIP rules and regulations governing the program, and to the best of our knowledge, this application meets those criteria. And now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming, that a grant application in the amount of $50,000 will be submitted to the Wyoming Intertie Community Investment Program for consideration to assist in funding Never Forget Park. Be it further resolved that Stacy Crimmins and Joe Parsons, Never Forget Park committee members are hereby designated as the authorized representatives of the town of Saratoga to act on behalf of the governing body in all matters relating to this grant or loan application. And so I ask for approval of this grant application and passing of the resolution.
Questions? We have a motion to go ahead and approve the signing of the resolution and the grant application for Never Forget Park.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Opposed? Hey, Stacy, before I can sign this, we gotta change the clerk's name.
Yes, I noticed that.
Okay.
I also just wanted to update you a little bit on where we're at. We are coming into the last part of the Bridge Street Bargains Challenge Grant. So until May 31st, any donations that are given to Bridge Street Bargains on behalf of Never Forget Park will be matched $1 for $1. So as last I checked, which was latter part of last week, that was about $6,000. So we've got a little ways to go, but hopefully people are going to take advantage of that so that their $100 donation becomes $200. Without adding in that Bridge Street Bargains grant, at this point, we've raised almost $300,000. That's funds that are in the WildStar account and in the American Legion accounts. And as we know, the curb and gutter bids came in higher than that, so we are going to be having a meeting to decide what we can do with the $300,000 that we do have. I applied for a grant from the Land and Water Conservation Fund quite a few months ago, November. And that was a $275,000, $700 grant. And we are in the last hoops to jump through for that federal grant. I just got an email today and now they need me to go back and prove that the whooping cranes are not going to be affected by whatever we do there and some other things like that with game and fish and endangered species. So I'm pretty confident in this grant because as each process, each hoop that I'm going through, it gets us further along. So, and that grant is specifically for phase 3, which is the restrooms in the parking lot. And so we can't use that money for anything other than that phase. And I think that's all I have.
Well, thank you for the
Thank
update.
you.
Just to let you know is yeah, you do have $298,454.50. But there is $64,000 worth of expenditures on that too. That will come off of it. That's for various
For this last,
engineering fees and stuff like that, advertising and one thing after another. Adds up pretty fast. Any other questions? Okay, yeah, if you'll change that on the resolution, drop it by, I'll sign off on it tomorrow. Okay, thanks, Stacy. We'll move on to Bigfoot advertising, open council seats. This was brought to my attention. Do we want to do it? But I allow Bigfoot to advertise a little bit, saying there are open council seats since there'll be 3. 1, 2, and 3. Or just post it in the newspaper.
In the newspaper. Just put it in the newspaper as just a general notice rather than a dedicated. We're advertising on Wyo Workforce and Indeed and other platforms. Can we confirm that?
I don't know if you'd want to.
What's the cost?
$1,000.
What's the cost?
$1,000.
Thousands? For
Free
I don't know if you'd want to go out to Indeed that's more for a workforce funding. This is just to let people know that from, I think it opened the 16th, the 15th,
16.
through the end of the month that you can file for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
open vacant seats for council.
I don't know about an advertisement. That seems pricey to me. But I want us to be clear on how we do want to advertise. Maybe not Indeed, I know that's an employment position. Like, are we running it on this? On the announcement board out here? What's that thing called?
It's a good idea.
You know, like put it there, put it on the board, put it on our Facebook, get it out there.
I think Jen put it on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, we've got folks
On their website.
registering, like sending in their documentation to vote, like, or absentee ballots, those kinds of things. It's there in the flyer. We just need to remind.
Was just brought, but that was something we'd wanted to consider.
I would say it's advertised enough.
With the newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah, just,
Maybe we can talk to.
Amanda.
Amanda, Talk to Amanda. I think that's a minimal amount, but I read that every time I drive by.
Okay, well, we'll just move on then and advertise it as normal. Okay. We got, Carbon County Visitors Council. We have one letter of interest, nobody else has come forth with a letter. One letter is from McCall, who's also on our planning and zoning. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, McCall, you want to come read your letter?
We got it last time.
We didn't read it.
Oh,
We mentioned it last time, but
we
we
read.
didn't read it in
Okay.
case there was another,
Okay, you can read it
I
again.
recall. I've got it right here.
I did not read it.
Yeah.
Dear Mayor Davis and Town Council members, I am writing to express my interest in filling the upcoming board vacancy for the town of Saratoga representative on the Carbon County Visitors Council. With 7 years of experience owning and managing a restaurant in Saratoga, I have gained valuable insight into the intersection of tourism and local business. My restaurant has served as a gathering place for both locals and visitors alike, providing high-quality food while fostering a sense of community. Through this experience, I have learned the importance of hospitality, customer satisfaction, and creating the memorable experiences that keep guests coming back. When tourists visit Saratoga, they bring major economic benefits. In addition to the lodging taxes collected, leisure and hospitality is the largest employment sector in Carbon County, providing 22% of our jobs. But tourism isn't just about attracting visitors. It's about creating opportunities and enhancing the quality of life for everyone in our community. My top priority serving on the tourism board will be finding ways to improve the quality of life for our local citizens. A great community to live in will automatically make it a great community to visit. I believe that my background in restaurant ownership, combined with my experience gained from serving on the Saratoga Planning Commission, Southeast Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Collaborative, and the Good Times Valley Recreation Board, uniquely qualifies me to represent Saratoga on the Carbon County Visitors Council. I am deeply passionate about the intersection of outdoor recreation, tourism, and economic development, all of which improve the quality of life for Saratoga residents. Additionally, my ability to collaborate effectively with different stakeholders, my passion for promoting outdoor recreation, placemaking, and beautification make me an excellent candidate for this role. In conclusion, I'm excited to represent Saratoga on the Carbon County Visitors Council and to play a role in shaping the future of tourism in our region while making a positive impact on our community. Sincerely, Cal Bureau.
Thank you. Are there any questions for McCall?
I'll move to appoint McCall to the Visitors Council.
Do I have a second? No second. This will fail. Thanks, McCall. I gotta see what I gotta do.
May I ask who we're looking for, if there's a candidate or a description of the candidate we're looking for, the reason?
No, they just, here's the letter that was given to us, and Jen read this when it first come open, and that's what I was looking at. As a representative, any applicant only needs to be qualified elector of the county and should be employed, have background or interest in travel and tourism. The applicant would need to live within Carbon County and have the best interest of Carbon County tourism and travel as their primary focus. Please note, as per the First Amendment, the joint powers agreement, an elected official may not serve on the Visitors Council.
But we need to appoint somebody.
We will have to appoint somebody, and I guess we'll leave it open, and I will reach out to Leslie Jefferson tomorrow and see if they can give us a little longer.
Do we have a concern? I mean, I think it's fair for us to ask why, I'm asking why we're not getting a second. If this is our only applicant. I mean, I'll ask their council members why we're not getting a second.
I'm looking for somebody that's been in the valley for quite a while and more local. And bringing what Saratoga is to Saratoga. To Carbon County.
And we don't have any other letters of interest.
Well, all we can do is move on and continue to advertise one more week, and I will reach out to Leslie tomorrow and see, because it says the deadline was June 30th. So see if we can prolong that a little bit longer. All right, thanks for call. Thanks, council. Okay, we'll move on to police department report. Thanks, Ellie. Thanks for coming, Randy.
Yeah.
Off tonight, the call for service in the last 2 weeks since our last council meeting, we ran 152 calls for service through our dispatch. The next item I have up is the SHSP grant. This is something that I had informed the council that we had already been approved for. Really, all we got to do is just sign the final paperwork itself, the grant agreement itself. I had reached out to Kylie. She had a couple of concerns originally, looked into them. There was a couple of sections on here. She just wanted to make sure that the town was aware of signing them on for. I can tell you that really nothing's changed in this agreement as the ones that we've got in the past. They're pretty much all the same. The only thing that has really changed is the amount of money in the project itself. We've been able to meet all of the requirements for those grants, and I see no different at this point in time now. The grant itself is for 45,000. Then I turn the page. $45,325. And it was basically the grant was put in to alleviate an issue that we found that we had a soft spot in our communication system. Last year they were clearing snow up by the water tower. One of the telephone lines, the pedestals got ran into, and it took out all of our 911 systems and our radio communications at that moment in time. So instead of running just telephone lines up there, the pairs there will actually have the ability to use radio waves. It'll be radio based as well. So it'll give us a good backup as well for that. We've already been approved. It's reimbursable. There's been no outlay of money at this point in time. And as soon as we do spend the money, we've been assured that it's a pretty quick turnaround for the money or for the reimbursement itself. As always, especially in this day and age, there's a little bit of a delay in some of the parts, things like that. So nothing has been ordered yet. Just going through this motion here.
I have a question on that. Was this in last year's budget?
No, it didn't make last year's budget. It was approved last year. The grant application was, but it never made the budget last year.
Okay, have you got it in this year's budget?
We actually is in the budget this year because we knew it
What I
was gonna
thought.
be outlined.
Okay,
So we put the money aside so we can foot that and then get the reimbursement. Okay, I thought we discussed it, but I couldn't remember for sure. Okay.
For that.
okay.
I'll move to proceed with the SHSP grant.
There a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Mike.
This available so we can. The next item I had for the council tonight is our vests. I spoke with you. Old vests. At the last council meeting, hadn't got a firm quote. Last time, we did get a firm quote. So we have two vests that we need to get replaced at this point in time. The guys are wearing their own vests right now and they're running out of time on those. There's usually a 5-year limit on the tactical vests. So we've got the two full vest systems with carriers, pouches and stuff. And we also put in for 3 more, or would request 3 more carriers. The carriers we've got now are all black. We've gone to the gray, so they would just kind of match the uniform as well. This would be reimbursable. Again, I can't give you a firm amount on how much would be reimbursed because it varies every time we put in for it. We had set aside $5,000 in the grant vest line item, and the quote came in for $3,090.88.
How much?
$3,090.88. Again, that money is in the budget at this time. They'll probably be a little later in the summer, first part of fall before they reopen that reinvestment or that reimbursement program as well for the grants.
That's a total for both the vest and the carriers?
Correct. And we were talking about closer to $5,000 for the set, but that is all of it. I questioned it as well, but I got it. And it broke down into, just to give you a little bit more of a breakdown, the panels themselves, the ballistic panels themselves were $847.26 for each pair for the two vests. And the carriers were $230 a piece. And then, like I say, we've got some handcuff pouches, radio pouches, and flashlight pouches is what we're purchasing on this.
Okay.
So we're looking to spend the 3,000 now and then get the reimbursement in next fiscal year.
There's a 45 to 60 day lag time in making the vest.
How many are there?
Two vests with panels and then 3 additional carriers.
And this $3,090, is that for one vest or for two?
No, that's for all.
Oh, for all of it, the whole shebang. Huh?
We were kind of figuring closer to $5,000 for all of it, but the quote came in much less. And that's what we were looking for as well. Same
Question? Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and purchase these.
I'll make a motion.
Purchase 2 vests, 2 carriers, plus additional
3 carriers?
Carriers.
holdings.
Yeah.
Have a second? That's it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
All right, just a little bit of an update on the vehicles. The Durango's back and on the street. It came in like $300 less than. Tahoe. Once they got into it, they found that one of the lifters had actually, when it come apart, it actually scored the camshaft. So they actually had to order a camshaft. The camshaft came in They were in the process of starting it, putting it back together today. So next day or two, hopefully we'll have the Tahoe back. We're looking into a headlight still, to see if we can get that replaced. Well, so
With that engine work, that's all warranty, correct?
that's all warranty with, yes.
Did you push them at all to just replace this motor? I mean, this is the second time it's been in there for the same issue, so.
It has, and what I was told before is that like many warranties, they will not do any preventive, nothing preventive. They will only replace what is damaged. In this case, so. And learn a little bit about Chrysler, that's the way they were as well, so.
That just worries me that we're gonna keep doing this, and then eventually it's gonna cost us a motor.
We're gonna trade it off. Yeah,
And I did look for some aftermarket options today for that headlamp, and because it's an SSV model, there is nothing available.
We'll continue to look, maybe, like say, maybe we'll get a used one.
Yeah, I called Mr. Ours and they're hooked up nationwide with no results for it, so.
And I did not, we had a heck of a time getting hold of Skyline Motors today. I don't know if they're having phone issues at their end or our end, but we weren't able to actually talk to them. We had to do some cell phone stuff and I didn't get any calls back this afternoon to see about the other headlight did come in, because it had been on some national back order and it actually did come in, but we're replacing it right now until.
well, before you can put it back on the street, we gotta fix the headlight.
Well, it illuminates. It's just, it's aimed down right now.
Until you hit a bump.
Yeah, and it briefly for about 2 days of back in.
Yeah, no, we need to get it.
So, but it was about $1,350 for the light itself, and we would have minimal labor putting it in right now because it's all right now because they're putting the camshaft in, the whole front end, but it had to come apart.
Well, we can't find a used one and he looked too. I would say we've got to go with the new headlight
This,
and be done
And
with
that's
it.
a better price than what I got quoted from GM and Laramie.
We can do it. You'll approve it. I'll arrange it tomorrow.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and purchase a new headlight for this car?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, we'll move on to the fire department.
Just want to come and give you guys an update on what's going on at the fire department right now. End of April, we completed our testing on our SCBA's and our air compressor. Everything did pass. I did get with Karina and let her know that invoice should be coming. That should hit this fiscal year. It was budgeted. On our SCBA mask, there was a couple of them that were starting to delaminate. But they were still under warranty. I think they had to replace 6 of them. So got that done. I had 2 guys go to Cody Fire School here at the beginning of the month. Went up there, had some good classes, got a lot of good information. They'll bring back to the department. Currently, we're working on transitioning to a new reporting system for the state. Emergency reporting is what we have been using in the past. That's kind of going away. I think the image trend is the new reporting system we'll be using. So we're working on getting that up and running. Tonight we were awarding the George M. Allen Memorial Scholarship to a Saratoga senior. So they should be getting that tonight. That was for $500. Number of calls, we've been pretty low on number of calls here lately. I think the last call I heard get paged out was the gas meter behind Gas Breeze in the alley there by the post office. But we haven't had, our call numbers remain pretty low, fortunately. Currently, we still have 32 volunteers on our roster, so we're full there. And we're continuing our weekly trainings and getting ready for wildland season. We've been pretty fortunate so far with the moisture, but all the moisture is good. But once it gets dry, it could be a rough season. So kind of depends on how that goes. But that's kind of what the fire department's doing. Do you guys have any questions?
You say, was that awarded tonight, that scholarship?
Mm-hmm.
We,
Yeah, it was McKenna King, a senior here at Saratoga.
okay,
So
Any other questions? Thanks, Creed.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, Creed.
Okay, we'll move on to the rec department.
Good evening. Report on some old business. I got word today from the Wyoming Outdoor Council that we were not awarded the grant for that spring administration project. They received over, I think, 30 projects or 30 grant applications and $4 million. So a lot came in there. They encourage us to apply again as more grants. We were not awarded for this round. We continue to try to prep for the upcoming pool season. We are still looking for some more lifeguards, a pool manager. They're continuing to work on what I'm trying to say, doing some pool work. It's still empty. We hope to fill it maybe next week.
Or later this week.
Maybe a little later this week. So that's kind of a pool update. With that, I have to unfortunately notify you of my resignation. I'll be resigning from the rec director position. My last day will be June 14th. I think you can appreciate the opportunity to have been employed by the town and the experience I've gained. It's been my pleasure working for you. Let me know how I can assist during this transition.
Dang it.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tough job. You did a good job. Thank you. That being the case, you need to advertise for a pool manager because Whisper resigned. And which Kim's gonna have, she's talking to a couple of people now, but I need the council's approval to advertise for a pool manager and also a rec director.
I'll make a motion to advertise for both those positions.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, something to consider on this. I don't know, I thought a lot about it and maybe something to consider as we move forward with this is maybe, you know, we went ahead and put out for an assistant to the rec director. Maybe this assistant should be the pool manager in the summertime and the assistant in the wintertime to the rec director. Because one slows down when the other one picks up. So it's just a thought, keep it in the back of your mind for right now, but maybe it could become a full-time position.
What do you think about that?
Yes, and I talked a lot about that, how we kind of transitioned from the busy season during the winter where we desperately need an assistant or some staff, you know.
Yeah.
I can't run the program myself, but then we kind of shift gears and we kind of slow down a little bit over there and focus more on the pool where maybe a rec assistant could also be a pool manager and manage the staff and such, and then we kind of ebb and flow between the two.
Just a thought,
Position, make it a full time.
just a thought that, you know, we would have to have the pay scale, something we could come in with. The only additional things would be benefits. I don't know, maybe it's a way to solve some of the issues that we have with not having enough people at times, and I don't know. It's just something for the council to think about.
The reason you're leaving is too much time.
Pretty demanding position without any staff.
Yeah.
Pay is kind of low compared to what I could make in other positions. Going into the position as a rec director, I had hopes of doing more directing and bringing programs to the community, and mostly what I've been doing is janitorial work and more, I guess we could say, low level work.
Yeah.
And so I think what you can do is that somewhere else.
We have to move to accept her resignation. I'll
We have a-
make that motion.
We have a motion to accept Kim's resignation. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I'm opposed.
Yeah.
Kim, thank you very much.
I don't blame anyone for trying to better themselves, though. If you. Good luck to
We
you.
appreciate the time that
Yeah.
you spent here, what you've done over there, and I'm sure we'll talk some more in the next few weeks. Thanks a lot. Okay, any other questions on the rec department? Okay, we'll move on to Mr. Emery and the Department of Public Works.
Evening, everybody.
Hello, Emery.
Starting off with number 18. This is one of the last few invoices we'll probably see for this OB app study. I've got a kind of finalizing the last schedule of key points in the process for that. So we'll probably email that out here shortly when we get a little bit better. Yeah, we've had some things come up with that, change a few dates, and everything's fairly flexible for that. I mean, if we need more time to look at things, you guys enter the planning commission, we can do that. If we get a motion to pay that, that would be.
I'll move to pay OV's invoice 2997 for 14,967.81.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Then the next one of my streets guys, Carter Edwards, he is leaving us. Then a letter of resignation, just moving on. He got an opportunity, like Mike said, to better improve himself. Sad to see him go. He did do a good job while he was here. I appreciate everything he did and just wish him the best in his new adventure. I guess we'd probably make a motion to officially accept his resignation.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second
Second.
to accept Carter's resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, move on to,
So this has not happened super often where we have somebody leave and somebody actually.
That's great.
Right there.
So that was pretty good. We've been looking for a water guy for a while. We've only got two. We've got Brandon and Chuck, and Chris Powell applied there. And I'd like to offer him a position. He's got some pretty relative experience. I'd like to onboard him for the water department. With the new pay scale, he'd come in at 18. Will with Carter leaving, we have a streets position open. I'd like to hire him, same thing. The streets department at 18. And then Skylar, who'd just be a seasonal weed and pest employee at our seasonal pay scale for that as well. So. Hire these three people.
is this with what you're offering these guys, is that on the new pay scale?
Yeah. And that was another reason with us bringing that on, like Chuck said, we couldn't offer them that if we hadn't. We'd have people making less than that.
It's not seasonal. This is.
Chris and Will are full-time employees, benefits, like everything
Okay.
else. It's gotta be seasonal employee.
Okay.
Well, let's go with the first one. You've interviewed them. You feel
Yep.
comfortable with them?
Yep, me and Chuck, we talked to me and the department heads, talked to all of them.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and hire Christopher Powell at $18 an hour to work in the water department?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to hire William Paddock to work in the streets department at $18 an hour? Full-time employee, both of them will be full-time employees.
I'll make the motion to hire him.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then Mr. Skylar Wood, do I have a motion to hire him as a part-time employee through the summer with weed and pest?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See, what's his hourly rate again?
It's gonna be 7. I gotta look on the part-time pay scale.
Okay.
Someone.
It's
Right here.
seasonal weed and pest 18.
Okay, and as everyone can see, we are tearing up the narrow sections of the road to replace the water line down there. So far, so good. It's good to see that project kicking off. Contractor's been really good to work with so far. Everybody's communicating well. We've got a pretty good team effort going down there. Thank Jerry for his cooperation as an adjacent property. Yeah, so right now we're looking to wrap it up towards the end of August. We'll monitor that schedule pretty closely, weekly construction meetings, and if that gets pushed out, we'll be able to update you guys on that. Probably tentatively looking at chip seal stuff and some of that road project starting next month. Sometime we've got to firm up the construction schedule details with 71 for that bigger road project. Got some paving that'll happen up here on the hill. June 7th tentatively is at a meeting today. We've got mixed designs and everything for Octagon and the road we're doing up there. And then on the street side of thing, once the asphalt starts getting made on a regular basis, we'll start picking some of that up, doing some of our patches around town. We did do a maiden voyage with some of our crushed asphalt over there on the Chatterton around the corner and everything, and it turned out pretty good. It packs in extremely well. So we'll be using that material pretty regularly when it's applicable. It worked well for us. We've got on the so there was, if anybody noticed on Saturday, there was a couple of mosquitoes. Maybe like 2.
I got them.
They're in Nebraska now.
Yeah. So we'll start dipping and doing some trapping and stuff for mosquitoes here in the next couple of weeks. If probably we'll have we got one aerial lined up towards the end of the month. We probably won't see us out a lot till probably that first part of June. It's gonna have to warm up quite a bit. There's just not enough activity to justify spending the chemicals. The adulticide went up. It's like $90 and change a gallon. So we want to be effective, but we want to use a limited amount of that as we can.
What was your date you advertised in the paper? Will begin.
Tentatively end of May through September 15th. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, if they're not out, there's no point in us.
The aerial thing?
Aerial's end of the month. And
Okay.
that's a larvicide. So once we start dipping that, you have a thing called emergence where we start seeing larvae showing up in water bodies. Once that happens, you know, your larvicide application is justified. So we'll start monitoring that and get an idea. See, those are our bigger projects. You know, we've got our other day-to-day stuff that's going on. You know, we got water taps, people building houses, starting to anyway. So we'll stay caught up on those. We're also looking at getting the VFD priced out for the water department or the well field out here. So hopefully I'll have a quote for that. At the next one, we probably get 1 or 2 spares. We used our last rebuilt one we had just a couple months ago. So we're gonna we got money in the budget. We want to get a couple of those bought, so we'll quotes on that. And then with our grant money, we will be getting chemical order put together. We've got quite a bit, but we did get awarded like $40,000 for chemicals for weed and pest. So we put an order together for that. And you want me to, any more questions on public works?
Okay, you can go ahead and move on to your next department.
So the Water and Sewer Joint Powers Board at our last meeting was just kind of continue to work through those ordinances, updating them. Well, we thought we were a little bit closer to being done with the water. You know, the more you go through, it's like the more things that come up, and it's, you know, you might as well get it all done at once. Once we get done with that, we'll move on to the sewer. Hopefully have 2 updated versions to hand off to Kylie, and we can get ordinances drafted and make things a little bit easier on me, my staff. The clearer those are, the easier it is for us to make decisions. And lately with the River Street project kind of kicking off, that's been the majority of the conversations at those boards has been those ordinances. Any questions on that?
You know,
You're gonna give us copies then before all that goes through the lawyer?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably put together like a draft of everything that we've done and get it to you guys. And we'll go from there. go from there before we kick it off before we send it off anywhere, we can sit down and look through it. I'd save some money before we ship something off that we haven't looked at yet.
Yeah.
Before we move on from Water and Sewer Joint Powers Board, I need to appoint a council rep. And I'm gonna ask for volunteers between you two. Can set the Joint Powers Board. If I don't get a volunteer, I'm picking one.
That's fine. I'll do it.
Okay, Gary said he would do it, so at this time, I'd like to appoint Jerry Flutie to the Water and Sewer Joint Powers Board. And I would entertain a motion to go forward with that.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Get with Emery and he'll tell you when they meet. I forgot. I think it's the second Wednesday. Second Wednesday.
Welcome aboard, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks for volunteering, Jerry. You're good.
Okay.
I didn't want to
Other thing-
love under the bus.
I do, so.
Not on that.
Okay, you want to move on to planning?
Yes, so we had a chicken public hearing at the last meeting. We've had more people at that than we've had at anything else since I've been here. Not that I've been here for years upon years. And there was very big support for allowing chickens in some fashion in town. Planning and Zoning Commission discussed it. And I will be drafting an ordinance to allow chickens for us to go over. And then we will probably kick it to you guys and then you guys take it from there. It was discussed to do it, have some sideboards, but allow it to be an easy process for people, not to be this a big, long, drawn out thing that we have to deal with. So yeah, that's pretty exciting.
We'll get to vote on it next.
Yes, but it'll probably be the next meeting. I think the timeline was I'll have a draft. They'll pencil through it, make a recommendation, then you guys will get it and go from there. Especially equipment. It's gonna have regular chicken.
Yeah, chicken cups.
They make ropes, very small ones. to catch chicken.
If you were to guess how long, like if we've got people just chomping at the bit, can we say happy path if everything goes really smoothly?
It's not a law until it's finally passed.
Yeah.
I would be hoping by like first part of July,
Okay,
that's all wrapped up.
great.
Ordinance language
Rough idea.
is super complicated.
Sure.
If we get a copy at the next meeting, which will be in June, of the ordinance, we can read it by title. Passed the first time, so probably the first meeting in July has strong possibilities. It could be
Yeah, we'll go to planning commission. You guys probably get it the second meeting in June.
second meeting.
Yeah, you
So it'd be
guys.
the second meeting in July.
That was the question that ended the hearing discussion is
So you can order your chickens.
how long is this? gonna be? There were probably people wondering that because 'tis chick season, I think.
Yeah, they're at,
Spring is
so,
the
yeah,
season.
Yeah.
they're at the store right now, $3. They're only $3. You can keep them inside.
So keep them in your house outside.
Keep them inside. Raise them in the basement.
Oh, my goodness.
No, please don't.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Joke.
Can I quote you on that?
You
It
can
was a
say I
joke.
was joking. I forget not to joke.
You can quote me on it.
Right.
That was a good one.
Okay, anything else on planning and zoning?
That kind of wraps the OB update that I gave in the Department of Public Works. That kind of wraps back into planning. We get that timeline, I'll ship it over. Yeah.
Great.
We'll go from there.
Any questions for Emery?
Did you all have with planning and zoning any additional conversations about the managing short-term rentals and how we want to, have we looked at current documentation and is it falling under any of those? Are we supposed to look into that further?
So that's Kylie, Chuck was talking to Kylie about that. That was
Okay.
discussed, existing language was discussed, existing language was gonna have a conversation with the attorney, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I just know we brought it up the last one.
Just to discuss a little bit with that. Spoke with Kylie. she's gonna send me a breakdown of why the ordinances that we have don't necessarily apply with short-term rentals. Then she's still saying we need to wait. But we'll see what the breakdown brings, and there were some questions at the planning and zoning meeting about that. And I'm trying to get those answered for planning and zoning members. And then they'll go forward. We'll decide which direction they'll go from there. But right now, she's doing a breakdown on some things for us, the questions that arose there. And so as soon as I get the answers to those questions, then I'll bring them forth to council.
There you go, guys.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Anything else? Questions? Bruce?
Thanks, Emery.
Thanks, Emery.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to the Community Center Joint Powers Board.
We don't have anything to report. I will say that we did lose Dan Hotchkiss recently. He passed away a couple of weeks back, couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago. So he was our treasurer for many years, so we'll be looking for a treasurer, but we've got a plan in place. But nothing new to report to the community. Our next meeting is June 10th at 4:30 at the community center.
Okay. Recreation Commission.
I don't have anything new to report from the last meeting. At that point, that was in our last meeting, the last council meeting. They're working on bylaws, continuing to do that, and addressing the survey or working on the survey for soccer and getting some communication out to the community. Our next meeting is June 3rd, 6 o'clock here. But I do want to just recap recreation wise, we're looking for a rec director, a pool manager. We're still working on getting our lifeguards certified and filling those positions, as well as instructors. And we've got to look at options for swim lessons. So we've got a lot to do at the pool and with recreation in general.
Okay. Any questions on recreation? We'll move on to the Saratoga Airport Advisory Board. Would you kind of read what went on?
Yeah, they discussed landscaping at the airport, putting up a flag, and how they're gonna do that. And they've got that cannon out there, that old cannon, what they want to do with that, with the landscaping. And there was questions about paying for the audit. They discussed that, and they tabled that till the next meeting. They had Brandon Bassett from Pine Cove, was on Zoom talking to them about the camera out there and what they could do with that. And they talked about the WAC conference, the Wyoming Aeronautical Conference. And that's in September 17th through the 20th, and Saratoga is hosting it. So they were talking about how they're gonna be about 200 people here. Pretty big. And there was talk about a new hangar that's being built out there, and if they were gonna approve it or not. They needed more discussion on that, and they talked to Emery about that a little bit. And then Emery was in there and he talked about the sewer that they're gonna be. Discussion about that. That was about
They
it.
agreed with the sewer?
Yes, very much.
Okay, just to give you an update, I wasn't at the meeting. I had a graduation I was attending. But I come back, I've reached out to all the board members. We've had some discussion. We reached out to Armstrong. And they are gonna pay their portion of the audit because it was a single one-time audit. So I don't think there'll be any more discussion at the next meeting. I think they'll just approve it. But I've reached out to, well, every board member got an email and discussion that, and Armstrong said it's basically their responsibility. Anything that triggers anything over any federal grant over $750,000, it triggers an audit. They can choose to audit or they don't have to choose to audit. Am I correct on that?
They have to, at 750,000, they have to have a single audit. If we have another project going on at the same time, that also qualifies, then there can be an either or.
Oh, that's where I got
The
mixed up.
spring, between Spring Creek
But
and the.
one of
we have
them's
the
gonna
option.
get an audit.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I got mixed up. So they had a, we had two going on that year that this triggered that audit, Spring Street and this one, and
Yeah, the current one we're working on, the one that they were discussing of paying was for the last audit that we just finished.
so. Any questions on that?
Mhm.
Okay, airport's next meeting is June 10th, here at Town Hall. And at 3:30 PM. We'll move on to South Central Emergency Medical Service. And I haven't received anything from them in a while. So I have nothing to report. We'll move on to new business. Is there any new business needs to be brought before the town? Do I have is anybody requesting an executive session? Seeing none, no further business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh. Meeting adjourned.